The world had watched Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for years, but lately, the conversation surrounding them had taken an even darker turn. Every interview, every public appearance, every carefully released photograph seemed to reignite the same question that millions of onlookers could not stop asking. Who was truly steering the ship behind closed doors? To some people, Meghan Markle appeared to be a deeply strategic woman who understood media narratives better than anyone around her. To others, Prince Harry looked like a man carrying decades of unresolved anger and emotional wounds long before Meghan ever entered his life. And somewhere in the middle of those two theories existed a relationship that continued to fascinate the public like a modern royal The world had watched Prince Harry and Meghan Markle for years, but lately, the conversation surrounding them had taken an even darker turn. Every interview, every public appearance, every carefully released photograph seemed to reignite the same question that millions of onlookers could not stop asking. Who was truly steering the ship behind closed doors? To some people, Meghan Markle appeared to be a deeply strategic woman who understood media narratives better than anyone around her. To others, Prince Harry looked like a man carrying decades of unresolved anger and emotional wounds long before Meghan ever entered his life. And somewhere in the middle of those two theories existed a relationship that continued to fascinate the public like a modern royal Late one evening in Montecito, Harry reportedly sat alone on the balcony of their sprawling estate, staring out into the dark California hills while his phone buzzed endlessly with headlines. The latest media storm had exploded after a former palace insider gave another anonymous interview claiming that tensions between the Sussexes and the royal family had reached a point of no return. Inside the house, Meghan was preparing notes for an upcoming media project. She moved carefully from room to room with the intensity of someone determined to control every tiny detail. Staff members who had worked with the couple privately admitted that the atmosphere around major projects could become incredibly tense. Nothing was ever allowed to appear imperfect. Every word mattered. Every image mattered. Every reaction mattered. Harry slowly walked back inside. "You should stop reading the comments," Meghan allegedly told him without even looking up at her laptop. Harry gave a tired smile. It's impossible not to. The tension in the room felt familiar. For years now, critics had accused the couple of fueling public drama while simultaneously condemning the media attention surrounding them. Supporters argued they were simply defending themselves against unfair treatment. Critics claimed they were trapped in a never-ending cycle of grievance and retaliation. And the truth? Nobody outside their inner circle truly knew. But public perception had already hardened. One of the biggest talking points among royal commentators remained Harry's dramatic transformation over the years. Old footage of the prince laughing with friends, joking during royal engagements, and appearing relaxed beside Prince William was constantly compared to more recent appearances, where he often seemed guarded, serious, and emotionally exhausted. Some observers believed Meghan had slowly reshaped Harry's worldview, encouraging him to see betrayal and hostility everywhere around him. Others argued that Harry had always carried resentment towards the institution, and Meghan merely gave him permission to finally express it publicly. The debate intensified after several insiders claimed that Harry had become increasingly isolated from many of his longtime friendships. Invitations reportedly stopped arriving, old social circles faded away, former military friends allegedly struggled to recognize the man they once knew. Meanwhile, Meghan continued facing accusations of being controlling behind the scenes. Critics dissected every public interaction between the couple. Small gestures became viral talking points online. If Meghan interrupted Harry during an interview, social media exploded. If she touched his arm while he spoke to someone else, body language experts rushed to analyze it. Some believed these moments showed affection. Others saw dominance. The internet turned every second into evidence for one theory or another. Then came the documentary. When the Sussexes released another emotional project revisiting their struggles with royal life, the public reaction became sharply divided once again. Supporters praised their honesty and vulnerability. Critics accused them of monetizing private family pain. During one particularly emotional segment, Harry spoke about feeling trapped inside royal expectations for most of his life. "I didn't even realize how unhappy I was," he admitted. That single sentence spread across the internet within minutes. For critics of Meghan, it sounded like proof that she had convinced Harry to reinterpret his entire upbringing through a negative lens. For supporters, it sounded like a man finally discovering emotional freedom after years of silent pressure. But behind the cameras, insiders whispered that cracks were beginning to appear even inside the Sussex household itself. According to entertainment reporters close to Hollywood circles, disagreements between Harry and Meghan had quietly intensified over branding decisions, future projects, and public image strategies. Harry reportedly preferred a quieter life away from constant media battles, while Meghan remained highly focused on maintaining relevance in an extremely competitive celebrity landscape. Whether those reports were accurate or exaggerated hardly mattered anymore. The public had already built entire narratives around them. One evening, during a private dinner attended by several influential media executives, Meghan allegedly became frustrated when a producer suggested the public might be experiencing royal fatigue. One attendee later claimed anonymously, "She doesn't take criticism lightly." Meanwhile, Harry reportedly spent much of the evening unusually quiet, occasionally checking his phone and avoiding lengthy conversations. Rumors quickly spread online that the prince was becoming emotionally drained from years of non-stop conflict. Some commentators even suggested that Harry looked increasingly torn between two worlds, the life he left behind in Britain and the entirely new reality he had built in California. And then came the photographs. Paparazzi images captured Harry walking alone near the beach one cloudy morning, wearing sunglasses and appearing visibly tense. Within hours, social media users began comparing the photos to older images from his royal years. "Look at his eyes," one viral comment read. "He doesn't look happy anymore." Others pushed back immediately, arguing that strangers could not diagnose someone's emotional state from random photographs. But the speculation never stopped. As months passed, another theory gained traction online. Some royal watchers began wondering whether the couple's public conflicts had become bigger than either of them individually. Perhaps, they argued, Harry and Meghan were now trapped inside a media cycle they no longer knew how to escape. Every interview created backlash. Every response created another headline. Every attempt to explain themselves seemed to deepen the divide between supporters and critics. At times, even neutral observers admitted feeling exhausted trying to follow the endless drama. Still, the fascination continued. Part of the reason was simple. People saw something deeply human inside the chaos. A prince struggling with identity, a woman navigating global scrutiny, a marriage unfolding under impossible levels of public attention. And because the relationship remained so public, millions of strangers continued projecting their own interpretations onto it. Some saw manipulation, some saw trauma bonding, some saw ambition. Others saw two emotionally damaged people trying to survive extraordinary pressure together. Late one night, after another exhausting week of headlines, Harry allegedly asked Meghan a question that had been reportedly weighing heavily on his mind. "Do you think things would have been different if we had stayed?" For a moment, Meghan reportedly said nothing. The silence itself felt heavy. Finally, she answered quietly. There was never a world where staying would have made everyone happy. Harry looked down at the floor. Maybe she was right. Or maybe that was exactly the tragedy. Because somewhere along the way, the battle against the institution had slowly transformed into a battle against nearly everyone around them. Family members, former friends, palace staff, journalists, critics, even sections of the public who once adored them. And once relationships begin collapsing one after another, people inevitably start asking difficult questions. Was Meghan Markle truly the mastermind critics believed her to be? Or had Prince Harry's unresolved anger and pain always been the deeper force driving the chaos? Perhaps the real answer was far more complicated than either side wanted to admit. Because toxic dynamics are rarely simple. Sometimes one person leads, sometimes both people feed the fire together, and sometimes two individuals with emotional wounds unknowingly create a storm neither of them fully understands until it is already too late. As the world continues watching the Sussex saga unfold in real time, one thing remains undeniable. Public fascination with Harry and Meghan shows no signs of disappearing anytime soon. Every appearance becomes evidence, every silence becomes suspicious, every decision becomes another chapter in a story the public feels emotionally invested in. But behind all the headlines, theories, documentaries, interviews, books, and controversies, there is still one reality nobody truly has access to except the two people living it themselves. And perhaps that is why the debate continues, because the world keeps searching for a villain, while the truth may simply be far messier, sadder, and more human than anyone wants to believe.